Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and in this GTA discussion video I'm going to be talking about the changes that have been made in the Bikers DLC that are relating to racing, relating to vehicles in general. We're going to go over all of them. I'm not going to give my thoughts on them in particular because that's going to come later on in the usual analysis videos that I do when we have everything. But I'm going to explain what they are so they're all in one place so we all know what to look out for. And before I get into it, I just want to say that I think one of the best things about me not taking out all the vehicles again and testing them and all of the bikes in the Bikers DLC, obviously as I said I'm going to be waiting with those for the brand new class specific videos for all the classes. One of the best things about doing that is that these bigger GTA YouTubers don't have any information to take from that. Obviously I've got the Hakuchu drag lap time out there, but yeah, you know, the same old story once again. These bigger GTA YouTubers just use my information without any sort of credit. And yeah, it does get a little bit annoying every now and then, but there's literally nothing I can do about it. So, you know, what can I do? The information is out there, but at least they don't have all of the bikes to report on and make 50,000 videos on. But yeah, just a little pet peeve of mine that I wanted to mention beforehand. But let's get straight into all of these changes. So one of the main changes that has been made that affects the GTA racing community the most is that GTA mode is no longer available in stunt races. That is really significant. You know, a lot of the racing events that we do in GTA Online require GTA mode because we use it to swap cars, for example. We use it to have a sticky bomb to start the race and you know, get up into a grid order and sort ourselves out that way. We can also get out of vehicles and get some good views from different places. You know, for example, the Multi-Class Endurance Championship, that would be significantly worse as a championship if we didn't have GTA mode available. Now obviously GTA mode is still available in normal races, but I feel like this is just a bug because they added the ability to change the race mode in stunt races to regular or non-contact, and in doing so they've removed the ability to have GTA mode. So really we need that putting back. And if you want to help with that, there is a link to a Rockstar support post forum post in the description. Click that, upvote that topic, get them to know about it because we really do need this back. There's no real reason for it to not be there, and I'm almost certain that it's a bug, but because we can't have it, it does significantly affect what we do in terms of racing events, and also you just can't have the standard racing stuff that you know you normally have in you know, for example, the boosts and rockets and things like that. Just a general GTA mode race, you can't do that with stunt races, so we really do need that sorting. Hopefully it was just a bug, but yeah, the link is in the description, so pause this video, go upvote that and then come back. Now the next thing to talk about is that obviously they fixed some bugs relating to the 4 new vehicles. That is the RE7B, the ETR1, the Tyrus and the Omnis is included with that as well. All 4 of those cars are slower than what they were. There will be a fact-finding video about that in very soon, in a few days. I'm going to explain exactly what they did. If you want to get a background on it, I would certainly suggest watching fact-finding episode 20. I'll also link that in the description, and you can probably guess from that video what they've done to change it. But yeah, I will make a fact-finding video, a separate video all about that, and that will explain exactly what they've done to make these new cars slower. It's actually a relatively good thing for the supercars class because it makes it well balanced again. It's a shame that the Omnis was affected by this as well, but that's just the way that the change that they've made and the problems that those cars had in the first place. But yeah, like I said, another video will be coming out explaining that in great detail, so please look out for that. And obviously if you want the full story, that's where it'll all be. Now also some different changes that we've seen to the class system, which we've never ever seen before. This is quite interesting. The Sterling GT, which is obviously the best sports classic car in the game, it should never been put in the sports classics class because it's way too fast for all the other cars there. That is now usable in regular sports races. It's still in the sports classics class and it can still be used in sports classic races, so it doesn't help in that respect, but you can now use the Sterling GT in regular sports races. You can race a Sterling GT against a Massacro, against an Elegy, against a Feltzer. It's not really competitive against the top sports cars, but it's certainly competitive against a few of the middling sports cars, and very interesting because we've never seen that sort of class change before. And does that possibly open up the idea that they will do this for more cars in the future? There's a lot that could be done with that. Obviously, it's never going to fix the single dominant car at the top of a class. You know, once they've put a car into the game, it's in a specific class, and it can be usable in races. They can't then change that. It can't then say that the Sterling GT is no longer a Sports Classics car. The best they can do is make it available in other classes, and that ability could actually make quite a few other classes more competitive. For example, the main thing that springs to mind is the Drift Tamper. The Drift Tamper is obviously a sports car. It should always have been put in the muscle cars class because it's absolutely bang on the pace of the top 2 muscle cars in the game. But the Drift Tamper could retain its sports classification, but be usable in muscle car races, and that would make it, make muscle car races even more interesting. So there's a lot that could be done with that. Whether they decide to do that in the future, we don't know. But it's interesting that we have that. Now, that it's not just the Sterling GT that happens with. We've also got the Schafter V12 and the LWB version are now usable in sedan races as well. So the Schafter V12 and the LWB, the regular versions, not the armoured versions, are sports cars. They're in the sports class. They should never ever have been put in the sports class. Yeah, it's so complicated because the V12 versions both should have been put in the sports class. The LWB versions should have been put into the sedans class. They got it wrong. They put the armoured versions in the sedans class, which meant we had the V12 armoured in the sedans class 4 seconds quicker than everything else. There's nothing they can do to change that now. So what they've done is made the Schafter V12, the regular version, usable in sedan races. It's still a sports car. It's still classified as a sports car. It can still be used in sports car races. But the Schafter V12, the regular version, can also be used in sedan races now, alongside the armoured Schafter V12 as well. The same goes for the LWB. The LWB is still a sports car, but it can be used in sedan races, so all the Schafters can be used in sedan races. It's just some of them have the classification of sports cars instead of sedans. It's just so complicated now, it's absolutely ridiculous, but a clearer picture will come out when I start doing these testing videos that include all the vehicles for all the specific classes, because then you'll know not only which vehicles are in which classes, but also which vehicles are usable in certain classes as well. On that point, the Manches, I just want to point out there, the brand new Manches isn't available in off-road races, which is very weird because it's strange now that we have 4 dirt bikes in the game. We've got the Sanchez, the Enduro, the BF400 and the Manches. 2 of them can be used in off-road races, 2 of them can't be used in off-road races. You know, they can't make up their mind. The Manches and the Enduro can't be used in off-road races. The BF400 and the Sanchez can be used in off-road races, but they're all in the motorcycles class. Ultimately, the BF400 is the one to use in off-road races anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, I thought I would point that out because quite a few people were asking about it. So yeah, that weird class-specific class changes and the class system in GTA is completely broken, but that's just what we come to expect these days. Next thing to talk about is that slamming cars no longer works, stancing or slamming vehicles. I talked about that in that fact-finding episode 20 video. I can't recommend watching that video enough. It explains a lot about this aspect of the game. That no longer works, and that is related to the change of the new cars that I mentioned earlier, and will be all explained in the next fact-finding video. Basically, what they've done, that stancing and slamming vehicles did cause a lot of problems in the game, and it seems to be that they've fixed that aspect, which means that all of the other problems that were caused with car performance and various different things have automatically been fixed as well. And like I said, I'll explain it all in a future video in great detail, but it's got a lot of people annoyed because it was used in car meets to make the cars look different. It was, I think, used a little bit by drifting communities to get a car that can drift a little bit better, so it has positives and negatives. Like I said, I'm not going to give my personal thoughts about it, not until we get the analysis videos later on and the dust all settles. But yeah, you can no longer do that with cars. You also can't gift more than one person your car in a GTA race. So what we used to do sometimes, obviously, for events where people didn't necessarily have the vehicle that we were racing for that event in the GTA racing community in general, what we would do is you could put it to a GTA mode. This is obviously why we need the GTA mode back. Get out of your car, let someone get in your car, and then you would respawn and there would be 2 versions of your vehicle, and you could do that an unlimited number of times. So theoretically everybody could have the exact same vehicle if needed, but that is no longer possible. You can still give someone your car, but you can only do it once. If you give a second person your car and then respawn again, so there would be 3 copies of your car on the grid, the first one will explode. So we can only have a maximum of 2 versions of your vehicle in a race at any one time, which is a bit of a shame because again that limits our ability to create good events and swap cars so that people can have a better experience and not necessarily need to buy it. Obviously that's probably why they've done it, because you know, if people don't need to buy the cars in our racing communities, people can swap them and just use them in races. Only one person needs to buy the car for the whole grid of 30 people to use it, for example. That impacts on their shark card sales. So, you know, from a cynical point of view, that could be why they've made that change. Something else to mention is that destroyed or impounded vehicles are also now usable in races. That's a really good change. I can't tell you the amount of times where a vehicle has been destroyed in free roam. I've gone into a race and I've found out that I can't use that vehicle and it puts you at a disadvantage. So yeah, destroyed or impounded vehicles can now be used in races. That's a great change. That's very, very good. And we have more vehicles to come in the game files, hidden in the game files. We've got more vehicles to come, just like we always do with these GTA updates these days. There's hidden vehicles. There's 5 more bikes, a van, a sports classic vehicle and a sports car as well. So my plan is to wait until we've got everything, then do these new testing videos and just report on everything. I'm going to be retesting obviously the top supercars, testing all the motorbikes as well. Hopefully I can try to generate a little bit of promotion and hype for those videos themselves, because they are going to be containing everything in the game. And my idea with those is that I'm not focusing on just making these DLC videos all the time. I'll create brand new videos for each class and it will contain everything, and maybe these bigger YouTubers will have forgotten about me by then and won't steal all my stuff. So yeah, hopefully those can be successful, but they will be coming. Hopefully you guys can be a little bit more patient about that. The final thing that I want to mention is there's a few bikes that have been added where adding a various different aspect to the bike will increase traction just like a spoiler on a car. This was always the case with, I think it was the Damon. If you changed the seat on the Damon, you got an increase of traction like a spoiler. Now a lot of the new bikes in the Bikers DLC have this as well. A lot of them are the belt drive covers, they add traction like a spoiler, but also there's some headlight modifications that increase traction. You should just always keep an eye out for that traction bar in Los Santos Customs or the mod shop in the Biker Clubhouse. If that increases, you will be getting added traction from the modification. So yeah, just a few hidden features there. But like I said, when I do the motorbikes video, going through all the motorbikes, I will be explaining that and I will be mentioning that for each individual bike that it applies to. So it's all to come. There's a lot of content to go through. There's been a lot of changes made to this DLC, a lot of vehicles as well. But we will get through it all eventually, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the videos along the way. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Feel free to let me know all your thoughts about all the changes that we've seen and all the changes that I've mentioned in this video down below in the comments. These are all the ones that are sort of relating to vehicles and the racing in general, but I'm sort of not going to go over every single thing that we aren't necessarily bothered about. But yeah, let me know all your thoughts down below. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the continued support, and I'll see you next time.